when you're starting your journey, no one's behind you, right? You're all, I guess you're all in the parking lot or at the base of the mountain, right? But when you're starting climbing up that mountain, there's so many people ahead of you, right? The Brandon Turners, the John Bombachis, all the other people, right? You look up to them and like, wow, they are scaling so high and they're doing a bunch of stuff. How did they get that high? I'm just trying to get over this rock and this boulder just to get to just above the tree lines, right? Or that. But there's people behind you that are starting out that are, you can help them. Like, just watch out for this boulder. This is probably go around on the right of this rock and not on the left, because that's easier on the right. I did the left and it's just horrible. So so once you kind of start your journey, there's other people behind you that you can help.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Creating Wealth Podcast, where I, Kyle, from Kyle Curtin Real Estate, interview local top dogs in the real estate investing, wealth building, and personal finance industries. Let's build together. What's up, guys? This week's guest on the podcast has a really amazing story, from his initial discovery of personal finance to becoming a successful house hacker and real estate investor, and how it has changed his life so far. In the second part of this interview, Erick and I get to chat about some more absolutely awesome topics, like the financial lesson to take from COVID, not focusing on the money, helping other people up the mountain, and so much more. This episode was a ton of fun, and I hope you enjoy. Let's jump right into the episode. So Erick, after that one, like, what kind of led you into getting your recent acquisition in Leominster?
We joined a lot of online courses, right? Not a lot, but a few. I joined this semi-retired MD Zero to Freedom online course where they taught us a lot of stuff, right? When I did my house hack, my plan was to do another house hack and just keep building on that. That's the easiest way, I think, to keep building your portfolio, especially if you have a W-2 job and you want less time to devote to your real estate, right? Because you still have a full-time W-2 job. When I joined this online course, and basically there were like 500 of us in the course, more or less, I think, students. They're all over the place, all over the country, like all over the US, different states, not just here in Massachusetts. People there have been able to and doing so many stuffs. So it opened and expanded my horizon, my view, that I can do more than just doing 2 to 4 units in house hacking this, right? I think think of your end goal. Why are we doing all these things? Real estate really is just a tool in a way for you to generate wealth, right? Yeah. Why are you doing this, right? So my end goal really is to get time and money freedom, right? Get my time back. Yeah. My W-2 job is really taking a lot of my time. I think ideally I want to work part-time. I like what I do, but I don't want to do it so much as what my employer wants me to do, right?
Yeah.
Work Monday to Friday, 1 weekend a month. I want my weekends, obviously, to do other things and pursue other stuff, because there's so much more to do in life than just keep working. So that's my end goal. But I can do that with either, investing in stocks, investing in different ways. Real estate is just one way and avenue to do that, but it's one of the best wealth generators in a short amount of time. From what I've seen, what I've heard, talk to people, right? So that's what I'm doing this. So getting that passive income to cut back on W-2 job is my journey, my path that I want to take. So buying a bigger property that can generate more passive income per month to replace some of my income is kind of what I thought of doing. So instead of buying another house hack, I can buy bigger. So I looked around and then I set my goals to buy a 5+ unit multifamily and ended up buying the 6 units in Leominster. So that's kind of the mind shift there. That's how I ended up buying this.
That's huge, man. You know, like, you're totally right. And like, you know, I mean, now, like, at least you had like all of that experience, you know, from like having like the 3 unit for a while and like, you know, managing the tenants and, you know, unfortunately having to remove somebody the hard way. But yeah, I mean, like, you already kind of have a lot of your processes in place, right? So then like you just have to kind of like carry over some of that stuff like into, you know, a bigger property, and the sky's the limit. You know what I mean? Like, oh, well, you know, if you can manage 3 units, why can't you manage 6? You know, like, and just keep scaling up.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of truth to that because you've learned you take what you've learned from your previous experience, the previous house hack, right? It's totally different having 6 units. I guess per unit you do the same things, right? But this one we're starting off back with a property management with our property manager. So we have a property manager. So what we're learning now is try to work with the property manager. So now I'm more of an asset manager for the property, working with my property manager, so that for my apartment unit, right? So different learning, which is really what I want, because my end goal is to have this portfolio that I'm not directly managing.
Yeah,
right? Because you want that passive life.
that
Right.
passive life, we need it.
Yeah. Passive life, because there's more to it, and I can get more to that because I think it puts you in a situation, a state where it opens up your life to so many different things.
Yeah,
That's how I feel. My end goal really is to have that rental estate portfolio that can support me getting my freedom back with time and money, and then I can pursue bigger things in my life and balance my life much better and not just work all the time.
the balance is tough, man. You know, and like, yeah.
Yeah, it is really, it's hard, especially if you're devoting most of your time working your W-2 job.
Yeah,
Your life is not balanced. You're failing in so many different aspects of your life, your personal life, your health, your relationships, your time, meaningful time with your family and friends, even giving back to your neighborhood, your community, right? Even giving back in other ways that I think ideally, if for us, we like to do that. If you help another person, it gives you a really good feeling, right?
it does.
Yeah, it does. It really makes you feel really good and really happy, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Because there's more purpose. You're helping other people. You're empowering other people, but you need time to do that. You need some effort to do that. I think you're in a much better position once you have the freedom of time and money.
Exactly. Life is too short, man. And like, you know, to just keep working for the man and, you know, like maybe get a couple hours like after you come home from work and like the weekends, but like that's it. Like, you know, like how are you supposed to balance like you said, you know, like relationships and like giving back and like, you know, like when you're working like 40+ hours a week, you know what I mean? And like that's it. Like, you know, you get a paycheck every week or every couple of weeks and that's it. You know,
Yeah,
and then like not to mention too, the like if you just have that one source of income, you know, just your W-2 job, and if, you know, something God forbid were to happen, you know, even like something like COVID and stuff, like a lot of people, you know, probably lost their jobs and like, you know, got laid off or whatever. Now all of a sudden, like you have no income coming in. Like, how are you supposed to pay the bills? Like, if you are able to build up, you know, something like that, like you have a whole nother asset, you know, bringing you in income. And then, you know, like at least you'll have another leg to stand on for a little bit, or, you know, like you'll be able to survive, you know, the more asset streams that you have. And yeah. It's
Yeah, totally agree. If you're a straight up W-2, especially with COVID, I think a lot of people realize that they can't really rely
yeah,
on their straight up W-2 jobs. And there's a sense of being vulnerable. You're
yeah,
not safe with your employment, a job. Um, that's why investing in other streams of income is really important, especially investing. That's how real estate is really powerful.
it really is, man. It's nuts. That was definitely an eye opener. Is like you never know when these like black swan events are gonna happen, like something totally unpredictable, and like boom, like here it was. You know what I mean? Everything shut down for like a year plus, and like it's still kind of on the fence of things shutting down and everything, and you never know. And like one day, like everything could be going fantastic, like your day job, like you could be, making a ton of money and killing it and everything. And then the next day, like everything shuts down and like all of a sudden, like you have nothing, like
Yeah,
it was something absolutely crazy, that happened. And, you know, it's, you never know.
yeah, totally scary. And yeah, I think a lot of people's lives shifted
Yeah,
with COVID. Um, some, unfortunately, for the worse, many for the better because they're able to put their selves in a better position. Like many people, at least in our sphere, in our world, shifted to real estate and they're crushing it.
exactly.
Yeah, so
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree, man. So how has it been, I guess, like in a different position, since you acquired the six unit, like just having like the property manager and like you said, like kind of having that more of like an asset manager, like a less hands-on type of role, and just be able to, have that relationship with a property manager and stuff and like go back and forth and then have them, kind of take care of things like the boots on the ground. And then like you just having to just kind of manage. And yeah. How has it kind of been like different from the house hack, like where you had to do everything or most things yourself and like, kind of stepping back a little bit and still having that get managed.
oh yeah, I think it's really great. It gets you a sense that I can scale this. I
Yeah,
can do this. It's less time and effort on your part, but you're still quite valuable. Like one of the things that I learned in the past few months since we got the 6 units property is decreasing expenses in the back end. I got it somehow. My insurance is super high. Talking to other uh, commercial insurance agents, professionals,
mhm,
figure out that I can get a so much better insurance coverage, actually better coverage for less the price.
that's perfect.
So my property, I was able to switch my liability and my property insurance. And it's gonna save me like around 3 grand per year. That alone.
Crazy.
Still working on the flood insurance because it's still super high, but I think a lot of things are changing right now with the FEMA status, from what I
Yeah,
understand. So that's still playing out right at the moment. So I'm still working, trying to switch that because it's still super expensive.
yeah,
So that's on the back end of my asset manager job, is to figure those things out. Um, I still have yet to do a turnover for that. So I'm still thinking of how I'm going to do that.
yeah.
Do I work with a property manager or do I do that myself? Um, so yeah, still figuring that one out. I'll figure it out probably next year or
That's
not.
we'll see. No, that's super cool, man. You know what I mean? Like to just kind of look at like, how much you were paying and stuff like that and step back and be like, oh wow, like this seems a little high. Like I wonder what other options I can have and reaching out to some of the different people in your sphere and just being like, hey, like, you know, or basically just having options, having choices to be able to maybe do something different. And you never know. I feel like it stems back to, what we were talking about earlier with, just kind of like observing like what you have now, like with, like the retirement stuff, and then just asking like, oh, like this is like this, but, what if there's other stuff out there? And like, it ended up working out like super good, like you have a cheaper policy for more coverage, and like that's perfect, and like you never know unless you can kind of step back and be like, all right, like I wonder what else is out there.
Yeah, so your bigger pockets, and especially the local investors that we meet here and there in meetups, networking. That's how really what helped me with this insurance issue that I have.
Yeah.
Someone in bigger pockets recommended their insurance professional, and I got to talk to them, and it just happened. So I'm super pumped about that. Super grateful and happy for other fellow investors because they're out there to help.
Yeah. I think it blows my mind like every day, man. Like the power of like how, just like one conversation or like seeking like information about something can get translated to a dollar amount. Like, something like that. Like, you were just, like networking with people and talking with people on bigger pockets and telling them your problem. And all of a sudden now you're saving $3,000 a year. Like that's like the craziest thing in the world. Like like, like where else can you do that? Like real estate's nuts, man.
Yeah. Real estate is really unique and different and so powerful. And I always hear about this, and I really believe this, that focusing on relationships in real estate is really the way to go.
Yeah.
Not just focusing on money and trying to get as much money you can.
Yeah.
That's probably the mindset shift that you need to have going through this, because if you have a better relationship, it translates to your business and your money
Yeah.
coming back much better.
I totally agree, man. That's something that comes up a good amount on the podcast is like, you know, like super boiled down, like, all of us are doing this for, to build wealth and financial freedom and stuff like that. But like, it's not just about the dollar. And like, if your head is like just focused on like making as much money as you can, like the way that you go about things and like take action on things, like might not be sustainable. If like you're just going after the dollar and like that's it, like screw everybody else, like, I'm gonna use like the cheapest contractor and like, do this super cheap and like I'm gonna jack this guy's rent up like $1,000 and like, like it's like great, but like it might not be the most sustainable way to do things. But instead, like building up those super valuable relationships and like helping people out and like, being empathetic to like, where people are and like people's positions and everything, and just like building up the right way, like will get you that money down the road, and be a lot more sustainable and, build a much more like safer business and stuff than like just going after the dollar, and like, I really like the concept of like, yeah, I mean, like we're all in it for, to build wealth for like our families and stuff like that. But like the amount that you like don't think about the dollar versus, just thinking about how to build a sustainable business and relationships and stuff, it's like the ratio is crazy. Like, yeah, like we're all going after the dollar, but the amount that like you should think about it like is like totally different than like it's not just about the money. Like there's a lot more value in other areas that you need to build like before you get that amount of money. And like I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that's what I really like about real estate is the culture.
Yeah.
Because everyone helps one another. Everyone wants everyone to succeed. Because when the tide rises, everyone rises, right? So I think, especially for newer investors, having that mindset and keeping that in mind is going to be really helpful. When you're starting out, just like when I started out, it's hard to give back because you don't have anything to give back, right? You don't have the knowledge. You don't have any answers. You're the one just asking questions and just trying to ask for help. It's okay. Don't worry about that because a lot of people will try to help you when you're starting out. but just make sure it's like hiking, right? Going up the mountain. Everyone's trying to get to the summit, right? Financial freedom, time, money, freedom. When you're starting your journey, no one's behind you, right? You're all, I guess you're all in the parking lot or at the base of the mountain, right? But when you're starting climbing up that mountain, there's so many people ahead of you, right? The Brandon Turners, the John Bombachis, all the other people, right? You look up to them,
Yeah.
and like, wow, they're scaling so high and they're doing a bunch of stuff. How they get that high? I'm just trying to get over this rock and this boulder just to get to just above the tree lines, right? Or that. But there's people behind you that are starting out that are you can help them. Like, just watch out for this boulder. This is probably the go around on the right of this rock and not on the left, because that's easier on the right. I did the left and it's just horrible. So so once you kind of start your journey, there's other people behind you that you can help, even small things. I think just keep that in mind and just be helpful to other people.
I really like the way you described that, man. I like that a lot. And like, that's something that is definitely really important to me, is like, like learning from all these people that have done it before, learning it, and then like bringing other people up with you, because like it's such a crazy game. And like, people, like you said, are doing like all these crazy things, but like they've climbed, a good amount of that mountain already, and like, twisted their ankle on that rock, and like, like it wasn't a fun time, and then like they give you the advice, so like you can make it up with them and like aren't twisting your ankle on the same rock. And like if you can pass on that knowledge and kind of complete the cycle, and bring other people up with you, like I feel like that's just super, super valuable. It's like, yeah, just to keep the cycle going, and exchange that information and like pass that on, like after you've used it as much as you can, and just make sure that other people can keep learning the same thing as well. So like you said, like all of us will grow together, once the tide rises.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
It's such an important thing, man. I love that so much. And like, especially with like how much of a team sport this is, like, especially, like once you start to scale, like you can only make it so far, by yourself, like as an individual. Like, and those relationships, the more that you dig into things are going to matter more and more, to like building up together and helping each other out. And like, what I really love about this community, man, is like, regardless of what point in your journey that you're at, like people are always there to help you and like, give you advice and, make sure you don't twist your ankle on that rock. And, and it's such a helpful like sphere, like regardless of, if you're just beginning on day one or you have like 200 units under your belt. And like, it's such a friendly, like heartwarming place. And it's, there's nothing else like it.
Yeah. That's really true. People are just naturally wanting to help, I think.
Exactly. It's such a beautiful thing. It really is.
It is.
So, Eric, I know we went over quite a bit, but I'm going to ask you. So, what is your best piece of advice to new investors that want to start and manage their rental portfolio? We went through a good amount already, but
when you're starting out and you don't have any rental portfolio and real estate, I think house hacking is really good if it fits your situation, right? Especially if you're young, single. That's the easiest way to get into it.
Yeah.
You learn how to acquire property, have a property, be a landlord, manage your tenants, right? Manage your property, fix small things here and there. That gives you confidence and a start of your runway to build up on it. So definitely consider that. And then what was helpful for me is trying to automate everything, right? One of my backgrounds or situation is I don't have much time. So I try to automate as much as I can, even from just installing smart locks. lock boxes, right? For people to come in and out. Automatic lights, like the dusk to dawn lights for external lights. Oh my God, it's so helpful for me because wow, it's just on at night and it's off during the day.
I'm gonna keep that one in mind. So
Especially for my external lights, my front lights. I installed that and wow, I don't need to tell everyone to turn it on or turn it off during the day. It just happens automatically. Just simple things like that. And then obviously trying to have your tenants pay online automatically. So through softwares, right? Software is really helpful. You don't need to worry about that. Just check how they paid this month. Great. So those are amazing. Automate and just ask questions, right? There's a lot of things you don't know. There's a lot of things that you may be scared about that's holding you back to take action. So just ask a lot of fellow investors that gives you confidence because a lot of experienced investors do put things into perspective into how you think about things. It's pretty simple. It's just this or that. And if that happens, you just do this, right? One of the classic, I think, barriers or they've been talked about in other podcasts is the toilet midnight call, right? The dreaded nightmare of I've been called for a toilet plug or leak or whatever, right? No one wants to do it at midnight. First, when you're house hacking, you live the property. So easy. If that happens, I don't think it's going to happen. It happens to some people, but it's rare. Yeah. At least for me, I've never gotten a call yet. Maybe if you get one, I think that's your badge of honor, right? You did it in your lifetime. That's it. You have your call and you're good to go. More than likely, you're not going to have that call. If it does, like lightning strikes you twice, maybe consider changing your toilet every time you acquire property. Just have that fixed. You're probably just unlucky, but yeah, that shouldn't hold you back. It rarely happens.
Yeah, that's huge, man. Because you're right. Like that's people's go-to like excuse. Like, oh, I don't want to deal with the toilet at midnight or 2 a.m. And you're like, well, by the way.
Yeah, I've got a toilet call, but not at midnight, not for that. It's more of can you check my toilet? It just doesn't fill in every now and then. So, of course, it's not an emergency. I did it on a weekend when I was free. I changed some of the valve inside it or the flusher. Mm-hmm. I YouTubed it. I did it myself. My first time. I was really pumped about that because I
nailed it. YouTube University.
Easy. I was super. Yeah, I was kind of scared about doing that, but it's super easy.
So. That's huge, man. YouTube University for the win.
Right. Yeah, online stuff. YouTube's great.
That's great. So, Eric, I got one more question for you, my man. And that is, do you read? And what is your favorite business, investing, or real estate book that you would recommend to anyone? Or a podcast or anywhere that you consume?
Yeah, definitely a podcast, Biggerpockets. You learn so much. It inspires you. Gives you probably a right mindset. The Rookie podcast is good for just strategies and initial investing knowledge that you can get. The OG podcast, it's really about mindset. They're probably going to change since Brandon Turner is stepping away, but I'm sure it's going to be for the better. So start with there. Reading books is really helpful. It provides so many information, actually so much information that you can't really carry over all of those stuff, which is not a problem. But just pick the right stuff that is applicable for you at that moment, at that point, your stage of your life. So last year, which is last year now, 2021, right? Last year, one of the books that really was helpful for me was The One Thing. It was so crazy last year that it took us 8 months to get a property, right? I was going depressed. So I was really going down. my emotion was all over the place because I can't find a property to acquire. And I was seeing so many people buying stuff, finding deals, right? Getting successes throughout the year. Focusing on your journey, I think, is really important.
Yeah.
All of us have their own journey. Everyone's their own journey. Focus on your journey. You don't want anyone else's journey because it's not probably the right fit for you. That's not the right thing for your life, right? So the one thing helped me focus on my journey, that all's going to be well. It's fine. I have my own journey and I just need to focus on it, be grateful for it. And that's enough for me, for my journey.
Yeah.
And that's where I need to be, right? We are where we need to be, right? We are at where we need to be. So for me, one thing was really helpful for me last year. So I recommend that to everyone to read it. I'm reading a book right now called Psychology of Money.
Mm-hmm.
I just started it. I got it as a Christmas gift. It's funny because me and my wife gave each other the Psychology of Money book. So we opened it like, Merry Christmas, right? We both got the same book. So we're reading that. It's really helpful. I really like it so far. I'm almost halfway through the book. It's by Morgan Housel. It's basically about behavior and money and the psychology behind it.
Ooh. Mm-hmm.
So I really like mindset books. I think it shifts mountains.
Yeah.
The effect is so great. The books about strategies like real investing, they're really helpful for knowledge and what you need to apply certain things to your actions.
Yeah.
So you get what you need from a real estate standpoint. But the mindset books is what makes things happen.
I love that, man. The one thing was one of those books that really hit me like that as well. Like that concept, like I'm still trying to apply it. Like I need to get better at it, I guess you could say. And like it sounds dumb, but like we were talking a little bit before the podcast and like how difficult it is to like disconnect sometimes and like, you know, just kind of have like that one thing that like, you know, you put like most of your energy and everything towards, and like the concept is amazing, you know, because like if you're worrying about way too many things at the same time, then like your energy and your effort and your time is all spread out across like a million things, you know. Or like Brandon Turner, he says he calls it like building a bridge. So, you know, if there's like, you know, you're one island and you want to build a bridge to another island, then, or say there's like a bunch of different islands or something, and that's all like different things that you can put, you know, like your effort into, like maybe it's things you want to get into. Like if you build a little bit of a bridge to each of those islands, like you're not going to get anywhere. Like you didn't build the full bridge. But if you take everything you have and build one bridge towards, you know, one of those islands and like go hard on it, then now you have like an established connection between the two of those, you know, and then like you should be able to build one bridge from that island to another island eventually. And, you know, you'll be able to use the resources from like the previous two to keep building. And, you know, the concept is absolutely amazing. Like it's so simple, but like it's so like real, like it, you know, and like, yeah, that other book sounds phenomenal, man. I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah, check that one out. Totally. So I really love that concept. Just focusing on one bridge, focusing on one thing. Yeah, it's gonna snowball down the road. You don't know. You have no idea, but just focus on one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. But Eric, I could talk to you for hours, man. Thank you very, very much for coming on here. I was so excited to have you on. Where on like social media can you be found?
Instagram, Erick Sem25, and we're starting our own business account, Anchor Kai Properties. So follow us on Instagram and just connect and be happy to help.
Awesome, man. I saw that Instagram the other day. I was like, ooh, awesome. All right. Like they're starting a project. Like that's sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll drop everything down below, my friend. Again, thank you very, very much for coming on here, Eric. That was amazing.
No, I'm really grateful for this, Kyle. This is really fun.
All right, guys, that concludes our Creating Wealth podcast episode for today. I want to thank every single person that has listened this far. It really means a lot to know that people can learn from me and with me as we build wealth together. Hopefully, you can take home at least one thing from this podcast that will improve your life just a little bit. If you could, please check me out on social. That's at Kyle Curtin Real Estate on Instagram, Facebook, and I'm on Biggerpockets. Until next time, let's build together.